I'm just going to apologize now for sounding bitter as hell because this is my third time recording this. I am so happy that my new game capture box comes in tomorrow. Me and Sean were talking for 30 minutes to realize that this shit cut us off. In the middle of doing it, didn't even notice, didn't even pop up. A pop-up, stopping, nothing at all, no notice. I don't even care. I would burn this if I wasn't promising to give this to a friend. Annoyed. But I'm not wasting all the time that I spent on this. So, pre-draft show. Going solo now since everyone is probably asleep. A couple of things I wanted to note here before getting into actually talking about the draft itself as far as strategies. First thing, NDL2 site. Going to the message board here. Going to the draft order. I would like to give a friendly reminder to those of you listening who are returning listeners from last season or new to the league. First of all, one thing you might want to look at to help make your draft list kind of late, I know. Well, first let's get to the draft order itself. I cannot emphasize enough. It says day 1 and day 2 on the draft. They are both on the same day. Day 1 and day 2 only refers to day 1 is for people that did not get fired. Day 2 is people that did. The draft is the same day. All picks will be made on the same day, tomorrow night or tonight, depending on what time zone you're on when this uploads. Probably tonight. It's happened before for the new guys. It's just a heads up. Even if you pick low, you still want to at least feel like you have a choice. So if you're not picking dead last, should be there, or you could turn your draft list and avoid that altogether. Another thing, Sean was so kind enough to take me up on what I was going to do but didn't want to do, as we talked about. If you're making a draft list, if you draft at the top, you might want to count down from teams available by grade to your number so you have an idea of what grade will be available if everyone picks the best available team. Makes it easier to make a draft list because you can always go down. On the other hand, if you're like me and near the bottom, you start counting from the bottom and count up from teams available, and you know what your ceiling is as far as best rating available, so it makes it easier to make your draft list. So just like to point that out for those of you that are still working on it or will be like me and agonize over it while I probably sit in class thinking about the NDL. Won't be the first time, won't be the last, but hopefully the last for the foreseeable future as graduation is around the corner. But I'll get on my soapbox with stuff later. I need filler time at the end. But a couple of things you see in announcements, I want to make note of that. For one, this has been done after I've recorded this footage, but if you look at announcement, All-American 7 minutes is the setting for this game. So you guys should take a look at that. Also, you're going to want to take a look at the rules. Kind of important. For the new guys, I don't think any changes were made, or at least if they were, I didn't see anything. I think the only thing that was being talked about was no huddle. I'm not going to say anything about that. I trust Buckeye to make a good decision. He's been making good ones so far. But we'll see if he says anything about it. But anyway, a couple things I want to point out. For one, if you're looking at picking a team, it's a lot easier to do this post-draft, which I will have a post-draft show, kind of explaining some stuff and having some fun here. Picking on people as always. We love to do it here. The NDL is what we do. So, for those of you that are still looking at teams, something you may want to look at. If you go to NDL stats, which everyone should have access to, you should be able to go to standings. Of course, I try to go by schedule, but it makes sense that schedule's not up, or it might be up, and just not in the early weeks. I don't know. I really didn't think about that until just now. But you can look. Is there something that I want to talk about? I'll talk more about it in the post-draft show. But for one, you can ask your commissioner in your conference, for those of you that are new to the league, or this is, your second season, you might not know. Every conference has a commissioner, so feel free to bug the hell out of them. They get extra points. They'd be more than happy to help you out. And, hey, doesn't hurt to make them do a little extra. That's what they're there for. They're there to answer questions. But one thing I wanted to point out, if you look at teams, something that may influence you since the draft is around the corner, the ratings and all that stuff is up. The contracts are updated. So every coach has a contract you have to sign. Your season success, this league's not all about winning. Don't let Big Mike fool you just because he wins all the time. It's 20% out of your 100-point grade at the end of the season. I'll get back to that in a couple of days, probably tomorrow. But your 20% is divided into 100 points. Think of it like having, for those of you in school, make it a little easier, an exam that's worth 20% of your grade. 100-point exam worth 20%, so just do the math. 40% of it is your win goal, which I will explain in a couple of days. You meet your win goal, you get all. It's all or nothing. You have 30% on conference goals, and it will vary based on your rating, not just the rating of the team, but the rating of the team in comparison to either the teams in the division or the teams in conference, depending on what your rating is, sometimes both. And the last 30 are rival points. The more rival games you have, the less points each game is, but altogether it totals 30. So I'll explain that more for those of you that are new. And if you want a refresher, feel free to listen. If not, you probably want to skip the first couple of minutes or I'll figure something out. But yeah, you probably want to skip that section. But just to give you an explanation, and I'll give you an example of how things look, so it makes it a little bit easier. But if all else fails, ask your commish. So as the draft comes, I was pointing at the NDL Cup down there. 123, I think. Yeah, South Alabama didn't. So 123 teams. Big tournament. That'll start up in a couple of days. Season's really closing in faster than I thought it would. But back to the stats site, you can go to standings and you can look at the team schedule that's already in place. So it can help be a factor in who you want to keep. Sorry about that. Long day. And I like the jerseys here. Sean made fun of me. I don't think I can even explain it. It's one of those kind of sort of not suitable for work things, and I don't have the whole joke in front of me. So can't do it, but homie, our tech genius, has added that. Which also reminds me, speaking of homie, Noel posted a post for donations. I saw it. I don't know if it's still up, but I think it was under announcements, so you might want to take a look at that if you're interested in donating. And I read the post. Definitely costs are down since we don't use League Daddy anymore. Sure, it makes more work for homie, but for the benefit of the league, things are easier ran. It's always easier when you rely on people on the inside, and he's definitely done great with the tech stuff, as we've all seen over the years. You can see there looking at I think I did the timeline earlier on, which is under announcements or on the NDL2 site. So everything, the draft, how the conference schedule opens, what else? The cup, and then I believe the league starts Monday. I might have that wrong. I don't have a date in front of me, and I might be confusing it with a test date. And then also the teams that are new or the teams that have moved around in the draft as well. Teams are new to the league, going to the WAC, and wherever the other team. I don't remember if they went to the WAC or not. The Sun Belt, I think, was one, and the other two to the WAC. I might have that wrong. Sorry. And then the ones moving around, Zoo and Texas A&M going to the SEC East and West respectively. TCU and West Virginia going to the Big 12, which still has 10 teams. Great. Temple to the Big East. Probably forgetting one. Oh, all of the teams moving to the Mountain West. Nevada, Hawaii. Can't think if there's another one. I can't remember. But whatever, it's there. You can take a look at it. But I want to talk about the draft because this is the whole reason of doing this show in the first place. So, there are a couple of ways of looking at doing this for those that are still thinking, or for those that are new, even if you're picking low. For one, if you look at the team grades on the game in exhibition, the number ratings are up on a post earlier, might be on page 2 on the NCAA to PS3 info section. If not, then the letter grades are up in a thread there, or obviously they're up in the draft form, so you can take a look at what teams are available, how they compare. Might just be easier to look at it on the game because you just have it right there and handy. And there's some of us that like to have that up and running while we're in the draft room, because I'm sure there's quite a few people that still are making their decisions as the draft's going on, or still deciding when they're on the clock. Another thing you might want to look at is going into practice mode. Ratings can be a very funny and finicky thing because ratings don't always tell the whole story with the team. Sometimes there's just a team on the game that it doesn't matter who has them, they're cursed. It just happens, or this player may have rating X and Y and you believe they're going to play like A. They don't, because it just doesn't mesh. So you get a chance to run the offense or run the defense, see how they play on the field. That could impact your decision. Another thing to look at, even though it's a little buggy on the PS3 still, I hear it's not as or at all on Xbox, but I'm quite happy with my PS3. No complaints with the other games, at least. Something to think about. Something that me and Sean were talking about. See if I can sum this up in a couple minutes. There's a couple of different ways of looking at how to pick a team. One is you pick a team, like I'll use myself for example. I have a low enough pick, it's not going to influence anything. I like to have a balanced offense. I consider the name of my playbook is West Coast. The div stands for diversity. I like to spread the field and run like a spread West Coast, and I also like power football. I like a lot of different things, but I just file it under West Coast because that's the offense I follow the most. So the two things that I look at, I need a quarterback that's accurate, and I need running backs that can catch the ball. Speed's not as big of a factor for me. I run the ball basically enough to help control yardage to make second and third and manageables. That's what I like to do. Defense, I like to run zone. So when I'm looking at teams, there's two ways you can look at it. Me personally, myself, situations can impact it, and I'll get to that later. But you can pick teams based on, say, I find a team in my grade range availability that has good, shall we say, a good quarterback. They have decent receivers. I note that. I look at different things on defense. I like to run zones, so I'm going to look for corners that have good zone coverage skills. I'm going to look for players that have fast speed and acceleration and awareness on defense, because that's what's important. Pass rushing to help generate pressure. Different little things that you look at. So all of these things factor into how I pick my team. So there's a couple of things you can look at. One, I pick a team that best fits the way that I play regardless of grade. I could look at grade and say I picked the best team that fits within that particular grade. And obviously, the lower you pick, you're going to have to be able to concede some things, because it's very rare that you find a team that completely fits what you're looking for that low. So there's that to think about too. There's also, you can pick a team that plays a certain way and you believe you can match the play style that the team's built for. Like if there's a power running team, you're going to pick, you're more of a passer, but you're going to play to the strength of your team. That's another way of picking your team. You can make a custom playbook and gear your playbook more to fit different things regardless of which route of A or B that you follow. Or you can take just a completely random thing and say, I'm just going to take the best team available and I'm just going to play and I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do with the team and just make it work. Can be fun, can also be frustrating. Either way, something to look at. Or you can do something that I'm surprised I didn't think of it. Sean kind of went into it some. You can take a situation instead of the team. So, for example, I pick low. If there was a BCS team, a BCS conference team available, they're going to be a low, probably the lowest in the conference. But if I pick them, obviously because they have the worst rating, they're going to have a win goal of 1 in conference play. I feel like I'd have to explain that a little bit more to the new guys in the post-draft so I could give you a visual of that. But just thinking of going back to the conference contract, your overall win goal, that's 40% of your grade. Of your 20%, it's 40% of the 20%. So math, that's 6 points out of 100 points right there just for win goal. I keep my win goal low at 1. I win 1 game, bam, there you go. Or 2, depending on what it is. Easy 6 points. But that's the small picture. Look at some other things to look at. So the draft, it's definitely going to be interesting. I'm not going to get too much into who goes where. It definitely helps when you have people. Feisty posted a thread, I'm sure most people have seen by now, with predictions. While some people definitely disagree who they're getting. I mean, it's just basically it's a tool that some people can use because you can get an idea of what team might be available. Usually it's a vet doing it. They've been around the league for a while. They have a general idea of a group of people who they may or may not pick. It might not be right, but they've got a general idea of, kind of seeing the history of how, certain people pick their team. So it kind of gives you an idea of what might be available. You might want to start your draft list there. Maybe look at some of the teams underneath that you don't think might be there that you see on the list, something to look at too. So it can be helpful. Really, at this point, this is the third time I did the recording. I just don't feel like going into too much detail about the draft now because we had a nice, great conversation about everything under the sun about the draft, and it's all gone forever, just in my head. So I'd like to talk about a couple other things. One, me and Sean were talking. We're going to do a post-draft show. So, one, I would like to say I may be bugging you during the draft. Please don't be offended by my annoyance. Probably won't be too serious. Just asking a couple questions on some picks, just giving some fodder for for some talk time. Still going to do interviews. I wouldn't mind doing interviews after the draft. I'm not sure because I don't have class on Friday, and I don't think I have to go to my internship. So I could probably take some time Thursday night if anybody is willing to have a quick chat. I'd be up for that. PS3, phone, don't care. Skype can't do right now. Kind of a tech problem on my end, but get that fixed. But yeah, can do that. So have a post-draft talk. Talk about some of the things at home, depending on how fast the turnaround is getting stuff set up. Everyone, team and the NDL site, I could give a little demo on what the rest of our off season is going to end up looking like. Plan on at least talking about it for a bit. What else were we talking about? Oh, for the new guys, a couple things on the message board. If you go down towards the bottom, you notice you have the NDL X, or is it X gaming? Extra, I don't remember, but it's all the gaming stuff. So you got FIFA down there, 2K League, which I'll just give a shout out to Dave. It was fun while it lasted. I just kind of died off there, which I know he didn't want to. He asked the main reason why he didn't want to do it in the first place because he was afraid it was going to happen, but it was still fun. Hopefully there will be a 2K13 league, and we can find a group of guys that will be committed to it for full season, regardless of where. I'll soapbox that in a minute. Damn, Dwight Howard fucking ruining ESPN, being talked about every 5 minutes, but whatever. You got other games. So people play FIFA, shoot 'em up section. I don't know if anybody else plays Battlefield still. There's still pretty good size of people playing Call of Duty. Basically, if you're looking for people, this is not just a football league, it's a gaming community. Speaking of football, how could I forget the Online Dynasty? Definitely take a look at that. I just noticed, I don't know how I never noticed the OOTP for baseball. So I'm going to do some reading up on that because that actually sounds pretty interesting. I don't know how they've been doing it for so long, and I did not notice that it was there. So I'm going to read up on that. And that'll be my FIFA of this year. Something new. But yeah, there's a couple of different things to look at if you're looking for other people to play, different games with. Because what I was going to say before I cut my own self off there was that bad English, AJ would be mad at me. Before I cut myself off, that just really threw me off now. I'm really disappointed in myself. The extra section with the gaming is because we are not just a football league. That's where I was going with the point. We are not just a football league. We are a community. As you can see, if you go to the want to play section, there's usually someone around looking to play something. If you look in the off-topic section, we talk about the most random ass things, which, by the way, I will plug for Sean. I'm sure he would appreciate this. That was a funny bit there. We have to find a way to sneak that in. He is having a battle of the broads in the female form. I don't know how many of you have seen or not seen this. Definitely should take a look at it if you have not. I do not want to get myself in any trouble for saying this. I have not been to the female forum much, but I hear that it is totally worth going to. And me and Sean talk about it because Sean likes to post there. And Oz says, is it Claudia San Pedro? That's a life changer there. But, definitely take a look. I keep saying that I was going to vote. I'm probably going to vote to help her make it to the finals, even though I see and hear that she's probably not going to, since Shell has his, I can't remember what Sean said, but I don't think I could do enough voting to help get her in. Sad, but it's okay. So that's something to look at. Yeah, we talk about a lot of things, so there's quite a few characters here for you new guys, as you'll see. But we're a fun bunch. Now 123 of us, but we've got some people that don't post much, some people that post every blue moon, some people that post just random stuff. That's interesting. And then you have the Shells and the Corys and the Daves of the world, like the off-topic section with the NBA playoffs. Such a great thread. So much arguing, so much bitterness in that thread. Definitely one of my highlights when I look back at Dave's NDL career whenever he retires. Totally gonna bring that up. Great thread, along with the whole the trending call from The Office. Great stuff. Oh man. And I guess I'll plug the wrestling thread too. For the few of us that are still here that still watch WWE, you never grow out of it. So there's something for everybody here. All right, what else did I want to say? Back to this. This new game capture box will be great because it will make my life so much easier. I'm so bitter about having to go through all the work of setting this up, and then the recording is not actually, the sound recording is not recording, and it's not a computer problem. I'm good enough in tech where I know what I'm doing, and it's the program, and I'm irritated, but it's okay. I've moved on. I get a new one tomorrow, today, whatever, and life will be better. But there's a couple things that I wanted to do this season a little bit differently. Pretty much I'll be doing the same stuff. the switch to 2 seasons. I know some people are upset about it. I'm indifferent towards it. I enjoy playing the game. I enjoy chatting with the people, on AIM, scrims, whatever. It's fun. So I'm not really all that concerned, because if I'm in an online dynasty, if I really want to play another season, I'm playing in one with I seem to beat you, so I'll have fun in that with the other guys that are in that. There's but NDL ESPN I think will benefit a lot. You see Feisty's got his own thing going there. There'll be other people doing articles. I'll still be doing my stuff. Hopefully the 2 seasons will help not cause burnout, because we've had some pretty awful season 3s. I really can't throw myself under the bus, because as Sean pointed out, if I would have did my recaps, I would be picking a couple spots higher at least, and I did not. So just goes to show, do your recaps and put your stats in, and everything's good to go. Easy 80 points right there. As Sean said, you guaranteed to keep your team if you have a C plus, just based on doing the bare minimum, which is be active, do your polls, your stats, and all that stuff, and by playing like you're not a douchebag. So easy 80 points. I was saying that I still want to do interviews. Not going to throw anybody under the bus, and I'm definitely not without my own blame, because some people it was difficult to match times with because of time zone, or just because of time available. Still like to do some interviews. We'll do it a little bit differently this year. If you want to be interviewed, you don't even have to make it public. Just send me a PM. I'll shoot you my school schedule and my schedule for my internship during that particular weekend. See if we can figure something out. Even if probably can try to make something work. If not, I have other alternatives in mind that I can think of. But if you want to, cool. If not, me and Sean will make this a 2-man show. I guess we talk about the league enough as it is. It annoys the hell out of his girlfriend, so I'm sure at least we can make our chats productive, since it'll be hurt. What else? I feel like there was something important that I was thinking about, and I totally slipped my mind. Can't remember. And still got about a couple minutes of time. 2 things that I wanted, or one thing was the song. I remember that. That was funny. So, for those of you that don't know, that song was Linkin Park to start, Somewhere I Belong, kind of fitting because of the draft. I have a limited choice of music, because apparently since I don't have a Mac, my PC doesn't recognize half the damn songs on my computer, so I have to get them converted over to a file that can be readable by the PC. Still not getting a Mac though. I will hold out to the end, or at least a little bit longer. But I like my computer now. So I need a song, or I was thinking of a song, so I was actually going to do The Rock's theme song, since I had posted on my Facebook page. I went to SmackDown last night, so I uploaded some videos, and I still have other videos of being there in wrestling events when The Rock came back. Valentine's Day of 2011. Yes, because it was WrestleMania 27. Yes, okay. Really bad that I know all this stuff. I was there and uploaded a video, embarrassing myself. It's The Rock. I'm a big wrestling fan, so I'm pretty sure you can imagine my reaction to that. 2, I was going to do The Rock's theme song, and Sean pretty much said it was blasphemous for me to do that. No one besides him can use his theme song. I was going to troll and do John Cena, but that's where I ran into the problem with that. So basically, long story short, I need a song for an entire season, because I'm tired of going through different songs. I don't want a yellow card song. I don't want a wrestling song. I'm actually thinking about just doing troll songs for a couple of weeks. So if you guys have any recommendations, or if you have a recommendation for a song that you think fits the NDL in general, feel free to let me know. and make something happen. Buy it on iTunes. I don't care. A couple bucks for a couple of good laughs would be fine, or a couple bucks for a song that I don't have to worry about changing, can edit once and let be, is great too. The other thing is I almost want to talk about the Lakers because of the Dwight Howard stuff, but I don't. I need someone else to listen to me, to not have me go off the deep end and complaining about Dwight Howard. That's the only thing I'll say. I just wish he would have not opted in and just became a free agent so all this could stop. I can't take hearing about him anymore. If the Lakers were offered if the Magic asked for a sack of bread for Howard, I'm not even sure if I'd still want to take that trade, because it just bugs me that much. It's worse than Brett Favre. It's worse than Linsanity. It's even teetering on worse than Tebow. I never thought I'd see the day. I'd say that. Frustrating. But oh well. But I think I've burned enough time here. Still a minute and a half. This lame finish to this scrim running in the background. Interesting stuff. Nothing like a tight end or was it defensive tackle leaping back forever far to pick off a deep ball. That was very entertaining game anyway. I was going somewhere and I just totally lost. Whatever. We'll just call it good here. Oh, that's what it was. For those of you that play other games, what was it? Rainbow Moon. Some of you know I'm a big RPG fan. And Rainbow Moon is, I don't know if you guys have heard of Solar X. It's a downloadable game. It's Solar X 1 and 2, basically. Both are a little bit different. They're both fun games. They're side-scrolling shoot-'em-ups. And I've had a lot of fun with those. That's one of my favorite genres, but I mean, I don't know what else you can do with it. I mean, pretty much the classics are where it's at right now. But Rainbow Moon is made by the same company, and it's an old-school grind-fest RPG. Loving the game. If you have PSN Plus, PlayStation Plus, I think it's $12. It's regular $15. I usually don't like recommending games to people because I don't want them being mad at me that they listened to me and bought a game and didn't like it. But I've been in an RPG rut because I refused to pick up and play Star Ocean after my save file got lost. And I have Tales of Grace F, and I don't. Grace is F, and I don't want to start it just yet. So Rainbow Moon is kind of, it's a pick up and play. I definitely got sucked in the last 2 times I put, like, oh, I'm only going to play it for 10 minutes. You can save anywhere. And they end up turning into like 30, 40 minutes. So I like the game a lot. Just recommending something, throwing it out there. So with that said, approaching the end of this. I'll have a draft show, post show up sometime probably Friday morning after we get everything situated, figure out what we're going to talk about, all that good stuff, see who you guys pick, and then get ready for season 25 just around the corner. Seems like a long time since we've been playing NCAA. So on that note, I am going to let this go, and I will talk to you guys probably within the next 24 hours. So good night, good morning, whatever it is, afternoon, depending on if you listen later. See everybody at the draft.